And then they called me a couple days later. I was sitting in a Target parking lot when they called me on my cell phone and told me that I had cancer.
I'm your host, Ashton Kroner, and today I'm joined by Brenda Lee, a U.S. Navy veteran, breast cancer survivor, and author of It's Not You, It's Cancer. All right, Brenda, welcome to the show.
Hi, it's great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, so tell me just a little bit about yourself. You are a Navy veteran?
I am. I am a Navy veteran. I went into the Navy in 1993, and I got out in 2000. So I was a parachute rigger. And I was actually the first female parachute rigger to ever go on a deployment on a cruise. So
first one on the ship total, or just one of...
Well, in my squadron, well, in the Navy total, I was the first parachute rigger.
Wow.
But female parachute rigger. But then on the first cruise, there was about 500 women on my first deployment.
What was that like?
It was a little overwhelming, but I enjoy going places, going to new places, and we went all over the place in Europe. It was fun. We had a good time.
What was the best place that you've been to, I guess, on your adventures?
Italy. I love Italy. I would go back to Italy and stay there.
What part of Italy did you guys go to?
We went to, let me think. Sorrento. I've got a couple music boxes from Sorrento. We went to Pisa, of course, where I've got the picture of where it looks like you're holding up the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Oh, how exciting.
So, yeah, I went all over the place over there. It was fun.
Oh, that's wonderful. Kind of tell me a day in the life of being on the ship.
Oh, gosh. Okay. It was a lot of stairs. We had... there was about 5,000 guys or people on the ship and about 500 women, so we were vastly outnumbered. But I think one of the things that we ran into a lot is we were told we didn't belong by a lot of people. You get some of the old salty guys that were there, and they'd never been on cruises with women or anything, and so a lot of them like to speak up and tell us that we didn't belong there and things like that.
That's when you band together and you beat the crap out of them.
Yeah, I have very tough skin now because of all that. I've learned how to just ignore people. Everybody has an opinion, but it doesn't mean they're right.
Oh, absolutely. I think a lot of us had to, what is it? Less than 1%, of the veteran population is females, or something like that.
Wow,
yeah.
I didn't realize.
No, it might be more than that, but I can't remember. I'll figure it out. But I know it's a really, really small number, so us just got to band together.
Yes. So
I hear on the ship, though, there is a lot of, like toxins and fuels and, kind of.
Oh, yeah. Well, like when you take a shower, the water smells like fuel. And, you're constantly in it. I don't know if the water and the fuel somehow get mixed. I don't know how any of that works. I just know, like, when you're taking showers and you're brushing your teeth and things like that, it always, everywhere you go on the boat, smells like fuel.
So you smelled like fuel for how long?
Months.
Oh my gosh.
And then, of course, everything is dirty and dusty, and there's like a layer of dirt on everything all the time. I don't even know where that dirt comes from.
I want to say you're out in the ocean.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know where all the dirt comes from.
Oh
crazy.
My goodness.
Yeah, it's filthy. And you're constantly cleaning, and it doesn't do any good.
Wow. So how long, I apologize if you already said it, but how long did you actually serve for?
It was from 93 to 2000, so just a little under 7 years.
Okay. So what prompted you to exit the military? Tired of the jet fuel?
Yeah, no, I've gotten to the point where I like the smell of jet fuel. Nope. I actually got out because I was married at the time, and we had kids, and so I was concerned about both of us being in at the same time, trying to raise a family. So I went ahead and got out.
Oh my goodness! So how many kids?
2 right now. I've since remarried, and now we've got 5 kids.
Oh my goodness.
All
what
together.
A full household. I love that.
Yeah. Well, most of them are grown now at this point, thank goodness. So
goodness. So after the military, this is when I guess you were diagnosed with the military. So you did not get diagnosed with cancer.
Not while I was
Not
in.
while you were in.
Right.
Okay.
I had been out for about 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
So walk me through that process. I mean, I guess, did you have any symptoms, or, what prompted you to go to the doctor to get checked out?
Well, I had gone in just for a regular checkup, ladies checkup annual. And she was checking, and she had found a lump, and I got lucky because even though I was only 30 years old, she said, I'm going to send you for a mammogram. I just want to get this double checked. And I'm glad she did, because I wasn't good about doing self breast exams or anything like that. I just I don't know. I was young and invincible. I didn't. They tell you to do those things, but I mean, I didn't. And so I got very lucky, and she found the lump. And they said that it was a cyst at first, and then they said come back in 6 months. And 6 months later, it was a tumor. So
Goodness. So what was it like in that 6-month window, just knowing that you had a lump there, but doing nothing
Right.
about it?
You know, it's funny because it's almost surreal because they had originally said it was a cyst. And so in my mind, it was a cyst. And so I wasn't stressed because, like I said, I was young. And, you know, at that age, you just feel like you're invincible. Bad things happen to other people, not yourself, you know? And so honestly, I wasn't stressed or anything. And it was just a couple days before my 6-month checkup, and I was driving to work, and I just kind of itched a little bit. And then I realized that that lump had gotten big, and that's when it started to freak me out. I was fine for months and months, and all of a sudden I was no longer okay.
Oh, goodness.
So yeah, that scared me.
So you go to the follow-up. What
Yes.
happens?
So I went in the follow-up. They did the mammogram and everything. They did an ultrasound as well. And then they sent me over to Baptist, and Baptist did the biopsy. And then they called me a couple days later. I was sitting in a Target parking lot when they called me on my cell phone and told me that I had cancer. So
What a way to run a
Yeah.
shopping trip. Way to
Yeah.
go, Baptist.
yes, right? And that was my thought is why would they call someone on the phone? I mean, is that not something that you should have a loved one there with you and bring you into the office? I don't know. In my mind, I'm like, you don't know what I was doing at that time. You just called me on my cell phone. I could have been anywhere.
I mean, you could have been at Disney World getting ready to go on on a ride or
Yes.
something. And
It's so
goodness.
crazy that they called. So yeah, I called my then husband, and I called my mom, and I was in such a state of shock that I was just like a robot. You know, I called them, told them the diagnosis. It was invasive ductal carcinoma. The doctor didn't even say the word cancer. So she says this to me, and I was like, and she just kept talking. And finally I was like, are you saying I have cancer? Because she never said that. And that was the beginning of a whole world of, you know, medical terms and things like that. I had no idea what it was. And it's scary and overwhelming. And I think that a lot of people run into the same problems.
Not to mention, you're also a mom, too, with
Yeah.
2 young
Yeah.
ones at home, and your husband at the
Yes.
time was
Yep.
still in the military.
Yeah. And so I called them and I told them what the doctor said. And then I went into Target and just did my shopping like a robot. And my husband called me a little while later and he was like, where are you? I said, I'm at Target. Like, what do you mean, where am I?
I got
And
shopping to do.
He goes like, yeah, he came home. He goes, I came home. I was worried about you. And then to this day, I'm like, I don't know what I should have done. Should I have gone home? Like, what do you do when you're told you have cancer? I don't know if I should have gone home. He thought that I should have.
So for those that unfortunately have that type of experience,
Yeah.
go to Target and shop. Get
Yeah,
whatever you
just
want.
Buy things. It's fine.
Oh my goodness. So how long did it take from that initial phone call to start getting set up with your doctor's appointments? And, I guess what did that look like for you and your family?
It was a really stressful time. We were talking earlier about caregivers. Caregivers, I believe, have one of the most difficult jobs because as a patient, I'm given basically a laundry list of things that I have to do and places I have to be. And my goal is just to get better. Everything else gets pushed to the side. My goal is to get better. The caregiver is stuck doing everything else. And my husband, he's a fixer. He was a fixer and he didn't know how to fix this. And so he would stress out and he would make phone calls and nothing was happening fast enough for him, and granted, we didn't understand how bad the cancer was or anything like that yet. At this point, we didn't know. And so for all we know, it's just like growing into this huge thing inside of me. We don't know how quickly things need to be moving. And so he was every day on the phone calling, when are we getting this surgery done? When are we, every day. And he was just stressing me out to the point where I understand he was trying to fix things, but I was like, you got to stop. You got to stop. But that's what it was in our household. It was all consuming. And it was terrifying. And nobody knew what to do or where to go or how to fix it or communicate. We didn't know how to communicate. It was really hard.
Speaking of communication, first of all, how old were your children when you were diagnosed?
They're 9 years apart. And so my youngest was 4. My oldest must have been 13 or 14, somewhere in that range. So
How do you tell your children?
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's funny because different personalities too. My older daughter, she's still like this, water that rolls off a duck's back. She's go with the flow, very, very calm natured. And so she was the one that the day my hair started falling out and I decided to shave my head, she was the one sitting on my lap just holding me and crying. She was just always there, strong, helping out, whatever she had to do, And my younger one, she was in kindergarten. And so and to this day, she's the one that I worry is going to end up getting cancer. Because my older daughter I adopted, and my younger daughter is my biological daughter. But she is every bit me. She's my personality, my everything. I think the only thing she got from her dad was the color of her hair. And so I worry about her. But I've had genetic testing done a couple times, and they say that there's no genetic marker there for me. So
do you think it was your military service or environmental factors that led to your breast cancer diagnosis?
I think it definitely had something to do with it, I think. I know a lot of women that were on ships, not necessarily just on the ship that I was on, but I know, over the years I've gotten to know other women that have made deployments and everything. And it's shocking because in regular American society, 1 in 8 women will get diagnosed with breast cancer at some point in their lives. So it's already a crazy high amount of people. But I know so many women who were diagnosed young, not in their 40s, 50s, 60s, but younger in their 20s and 30s. And they were women like me who were in the military, spent time on ships. And they were around the fuel. They were around just all that dirt and everything, the asbestos that's on the ships, just all the things that are not good for you. And years later, I think that's a big part of what we all are dealing with now is with cancer because of it.
Mm-hmm. Now, before we entered, obviously, and started the studio, you were talking about, breast cancer was an old woman's disease.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's different now.
Anymore. Yeah. It's wild because women are getting breast cancer younger and younger these days. It used to be that your first mammogram wasn't until you were 50. And a lot of times breast cancer would get missed because somebody wasn't old enough to get breast cancer, and so the doctors wouldn't send them for a mammogram. If there was a lump, they would just assume either it's that time of the month that their hormones are doing that, or it's probably just a cyst, nothing to worry about, it'll go away. So a lot of times these diagnoses get missed because it's an age problem. They just write it off. And fortunately, I think doctors are getting a little bit more aware of the situation, and so it's not, I can't say it's not happening as much, but I know a lot of people who are getting diagnosed earlier on. And of course, just like any cancer, the earlier you get diagnosed, the better, so that it's easier to fight it if you're a stage 1 than it is if you're a stage 3 or 4.
No, absolutely. The outcomes are a lot better. Yeah. The financial, outlook is a lot better,
yes.
Not to mention the emotional toll as well on it. Now, when you were going through treatment, let's go ahead and take a step back and talk about that. So your first day of chemo, because you did chemo and radiation.
Right, yeah.
So what was that like?
I was in the military, so I have that sense of humor. I make jokes.
Naturally, okay.
Heaven forbid I take anything seriously. And the more nervous I get, the more I joke. So, I had... Of course, I had a lot of apprehension going in there. I didn't really know what it was going to entail. But it was just an IV, it wasn't a big deal. In fact, I didn't even feel sick from it for the first couple days. It was, I would go in on a Monday and get blood test. My chemo was on a Tuesday, and then I would be fine on Wednesday, and then by Thursday afternoon, I'd start to feel sick. And then I would feel crappy for a couple of days, and the whole cycle would start over. And so the first time I went in there, it was just meeting everybody, it was overwhelming. I named my, because I had my IV on a little cart thing. I named it George. George went everywhere with me.
I would hope so.
Yeah. And so, but I ended up having an allergic reaction, oddly enough, to Benadryl. Part of my chemo, they put Benadryl in my thing. And of course, it made me sleepy. And so I fell asleep, and my husband looked over, and my face was like bright red. And apparently, you can have allergic reactions to Benadryl.
I've never known that.
Like, that seems like a crazy thing. I didn't know that either. But yeah.
Wow.
So they changed up my regimen, and the next time I went in there, they used a much smaller dose of Benadryl, and I was fine.
Okay.
So, but
now, did you opt for the PICC line or a port?
I had a port. I actually still have my scar.
Oh my goodness. So that made it a lot easier.
Oh yeah. In fact, I talk about that in my book. Sometimes people are given the option of whether they want to get a port or not, and even on I'm on some Facebook sites for people with breast cancer and stuff, and I tell all of them, I'm in there advocating and trying to help them, and I'm like, if you have a choice, get a port. It sounds scary, but honestly, I recommend it. I would 100% get a port again if I had to.
Oh my! So for those that don't know what a port is, because we might have some first time,
Sure.
What does that mean?
Yeah. So basically, when you go in to get chemo, of course, it goes through your veins. It's an IV, and after a while, all those chemicals can break down your veins and make it harder to get any kind of IVs or anything in the future. So you get a port, and it's about the size of a quarter, and it just sits underneath the skin, and it runs into different veins in your, and I don't know the science all behind it, but it runs into different veins and stuff. And so that when they give you chemo, they just put the needle into the port, and it's like the spongy little center area, and they put the chemo in the port instead of running it through your veins, so you don't have the same kind of issues.
So you're like a bionic woman on the inside then.
I was for a little while. In fact, I kept it for like 2 years after I finished chemo because I was scared to take it out. Because I thought, well, if it comes back, I don't want to have it put back in. So I kept it for like 2 more years. It was like my, like a binky for little kids. This was my binky.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, reoccurrence. Obviously that does happen. What does the reoccurrence look like?
Well, I got lucky. I never had to worry about it, thank goodness. But I can imagine that it's got to be a terrifying thing to be told not once, but again, that it's back. I can't even wrap my head around something like that, how terrifying that would be.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Goodness. So you're going through chemo, and you also went through radiation.
I did, yeah.
Which one was, in your opinion, the better or the worst out of the two? Well,
it's funny because I think my biggest issue with going through all of this was the psychological scars. And I hate to say, I don't know if I can cuss on your thing, but I call it a mind fuck.
Yes, you can cuss on there. So, but that's actually a good point. I mean, that's what chemo is.
To me, that's what it was. And so, and I was telling you earlier, my coping mechanism, I'm ashamed to say, was drinking and smoking. I smoked cigarettes and I drank a lot because I did not know how to wrap my head around it. So honestly, looking back all these years later, it's a miracle that I made it through because the alcohol was not helping.
No, did you tell your doctors?
I don't remember whether I did or not.
I'm sure they would have probably frowned upon that. For those that are listening, please do not drink.
Do that.
Don't drink or don't smoke. Oh my goodness.
I do not recommend it. But yeah, that was my coping mechanism. And so through chemo, it was almost like it was just rushing through it, and it was like a haze, Cause
how long did chemo last for you?
Almost a year. I went once a week it was like 48 weeks. And, when I was feeling okay, I was drinking. And when I was not feeling okay, I was laying in bed, sleeping, recovering from chemo. And so for me, that part was a haze. And then I moved on to radiation. And radiation, you're laying there, even though it's only like 20 or 30 minutes a day, you're laying there. And you can't move, you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything to distract your mind. And your mind just kind of starts doing what it's supposed to do. And that, for me, was the hardest part. That was when I broke. Because laying there every day, just reflecting on, what are you doing with your life? What are you doing? And about halfway through chemo, I actually took myself to rehab. And because I thought I was an alcoholic. And really, it was just, I didn't know how to cope with anything. And being military, I didn't know how to have conversations with my husband. He didn't know how to have conversations. He coped with his own way, and it wasn't alcohol. It was something completely different. But we all had our ways of coping, and none of it was healthy. So it was, aside from all the medical stuff that I was going through, I went through a huge life-changing, well, my whole life changed. You know, it was psychological, and then I ended up going through a divorce, and it was just, everything in my life was different after that. It was literally the worst year of my life.
Goodness.
So it was crazy. So that's why it took me like 17 years to write that book, because I had to get through a lot of it. There was a lot to unpack.
Yeah. So tell me about your book. I know, I love it, by the way.
It's always kind of been in my mind. Again, it was one of those things that I don't think that I was ready to write it. I had to get to a point in my life where mentally I was in a better place. And I'm married to an excellent guy now. He's amazing. It doesn't matter what I do. I could come up with the craziest harebrained idea and he's on board. It doesn't matter what it is. I love that. Yeah. And it's funny because I'm one of those people, I change my mind constantly. And so I've told him I wanted to learn calligraphy. So he bought me a whole bunch of stuff for calligraphy. I never even opened the box. Like things like that, you know. If I say I want to learn something, he is on board, and then I'm like, nah, I've changed my mind, and he never gets mad about it.
So what did you do with the calligraphy set?
I think I gave it to one of my daughters.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, and I've got a 3D printer that went to my son now too. So similar concept.
Oh, you know what? You and my husband are very, very similar in that sense.
I've always got an idea.
He's got that entrepreneurial mindset and everything. But that led you to your book and everything.
Yes.
So what was the idea behind it? Just were you using it just as a personal journal to get your thoughts out? Did you know it was going to be a book?
Yeah, well, I think I always knew it was going to be a book. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know anything about publishing or anything, so I had to learn that part. And it really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But my goal was partly to, yes, as a journal, to get my experience out there because, again, cancer is very isolating in the idea that you think you're the only person with that story. And for almost 20 years, I thought I was the only person with that story. You know, I drank while I was going through chemo. I drank and smoked. I went through a horrifying divorce. The things that my ex-husband did, and I'm not going to get into all that, but just my whole scenario, I thought that it was just very unique, and I didn't think anybody else would understand. And to the point where I honestly didn't even talk about it very often. People that I knew that I had cancer, and they knew that it was a hard year for me. But going in depth about it, I very seldom ever did that. And so when I decided to write this book, I put all of it in there. I put all the things, and then I interviewed other people and put some of their stories in there because I was finding out by talking to other people that I'm not unique. And it was very healing, because I carried a lot of weight. I had a lot of anxiety attacks while I was writing this book because I was unpacking so much, but I'm not unique, and it's good to know that I'm not alone. And so part of it was learning that I'm not the only one. Even though it's a terrible thing and you don't want other people to go through it, it's nice to be heard and to be understood. I think all of us want that, And the other part was to help give a roadmap of what it's like to go through and navigate through breast cancer, because you're always given these diagnoses and these big medical words and things like that, and you don't know what they are. You don't know what it means, and you don't want to go on Google and Google things because that's terrifying.
Yes.
And so I kind of put in the book, these are some of the things that you're going to be looking at. Because years later, if I had understood everything better, I might have made some different choices. I don't know, but I think I might have. And so not knowing everything kind of kept me from making certain decisions. So I just kind of wanted to let people know what their choices are and give them a place to start with their research. So.
I love that. I also love at the end of the book, it has a list of resources.
Yes.
How many of those did you utilize in there?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's funny because I didn't even utilize any of them because I didn't know about it until years later. Yeah, isn't that crazy? But there's tons of them in here, and I don't want anybody else to feel like they don't have any kind of help, And so there's so many resources like understanding breast cancer, just reaching out to, support and fertility and family planning after cancer, nutrition, just there's tons of stuff in here. So, and a lot of it has to do with cancer in general. Some of it's breast cancer specific. So.
Oh, I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
How can our viewers find your book? How can they get this wonderful, inappropriate book that you created for all to read?
I'm very frank. I lay it all out there. I tell you everything. You can get it on Amazon is the best way to get it. If you're here local to Jacksonville, you could probably get an autographed copy from me. I have a few of them that I carry around in my car all the time.
I love that.
But Amazon. You can go on Amazon and look for It's Not You, It's Cancer. And you'll find me on there.
Oh, wonderful. We'll make sure to put it in our, on our social pages as well. So for those that are interested, make sure that you go to our socials and make sure you follow Brenda as well. She's hilarious. I love her posts. All right. So before we wrap up, I always have really two questions.
Yes.
One of them be, what was the silver lining for you?
Yeah. Well, and it's funny. It took a long time to figure this out. Again, I was in a toxic marriage. And so for me, the silver lining was there's a reason God gave me cancer. And I am in a much better place, a much healthier place. I'm no longer in a toxic area. So for me personally, that was my silver lining. But at the end of the day, I think that being able to reach out and help people be able to navigate, through my book and just reach out to other people and know that they're not alone in this is a huge thing. So I think it's given me the opportunity to help share it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. What is your one, piece of advice for somebody that is going through it right now? You've been there.
Yeah. Find other people. Find other people that are going through what you're going through because you're not alone. And the more you feel like you're alone, the harder it is to get through it. So find other people, whether it's online or through group counseling or find somebody to talk to. More than anything, I needed that when I went through it and I didn't have it. So.
Well, I'm glad that you're here, helping others be able to go through their journey. So thank you for joining us on our podcast
Thank
today.
you for having me. I appreciate it.